Hello, this is Hui. Welcome to watch my video, C++ Programming on Linux. In this short video, we are going to discuss a very common design pattern, which is singleton design pattern. So here's an example we have used many times in our previous video, which multiple threading read text files. So we create a maximum threading, which is std future array, and number threading time we define as 8. So the usage, we create the program name and the file name. So we create 8 times threading. We using std async, and this is our threading reading file function. This function take a thread ID and file names. So in this function, what we do, we just open instantialize our in file and same file name from command line, and in each threading we calculate initial point of each threading. So 8 threading, we each one read from different initial point, and each one read 2500 lines. So we made an example. Here is the questions. If our file is not able to open 8 times, or for example, if our file don't have standard lines, characters of each line, so we are not able to calculate each initial position, how can we to open multi-threading read file, process files? So in order to resolve this issue, one of the methods we can use a singleton design pattern method. So the singleton design pattern, here is the singleton pattern. There is a in software engineer, the singleton pattern is a software design pattern that restrict instantialization of a class. So our class to open to one single instance. So it means we design the class, and which then we restrict this class can be open only one single instance. So here is our class, singleton class. So we code name it singleton files. So we try to create a singleton class of the file which we restrict can open only one times. For the singleton class, most important, we have to declare static and the class name pointer, which is we call the name it instance. So this is we have to there is class name is singleton file, and this pointer with the type is singleton files. And the second important thing, and we have overwrite default constructor to the private, move this private. In most time, this default constructor is public. So in this case, our class cannot be used default constructors. And because our handling is the file, so our data is start the file pointer, if stream pointer, we call the p files. So in this short video, we make it simple. In order to open this singleton, we have to use a get instance method. So every time we instantialize this object, return the object pointer, we have called this method. This is for the singleton. So in this simple example, we create only 3 methods. One is the open file, and with file name, because this is a file we want to open only one times. And we have the ready function to check if our object is ready to use. So this ready function, and just check if we have this file and this file is open for read, and then we get true. And then we have one simple method which called read line, which read one line from this file object. So here is the implementation part, C++ CPP, which is for the single default constructor, and we just there nothing, so we only move this to overwrite to the private. So for the get instance method, we check if our instance, which is the pointer of our singleton class, is non-pointer, then we call this singleton default constructor. Because this is private, so we can call this from inside class object. So we return to the instance. So if second times we call this, and this is not non-pointer, so we just return this pointer. If first time, we just call this, so we guarantee our object can be restricted to open only one times. So for our ready method, we check if we have file object and the file is open, we return true. Otherwise, we return false. For the open files method, which we have to pass the file name. So if this file is a non-pointer, we instantialize our file object, ifstream object, p file, and if this p file is not open, we just open this file. And for this example, we just open for reading, and for the read line method, and we just read line method, we just only using get line of this file, and to the RTN, which is the string, and we return this string back to this method. So this is our singleton class. And for singleton object, and so we have to instantialize our instance, which is non-pointer, and our p file to non-pointer. So this is initialized, and our number of singleton object with non-pointers. So in our main program, after we still using the program name and the file name. File name is example file name. And first, after we pass the syntax check, we instantialize our object called the singleton object get instance. So when the return to the SF, when we call this pointer, which is the type of this pointer is the singleton files. So then we using this open file method to open file, which file name we get from command lines. So we check if this object have file and file is open, then we continue. Otherwise, we just exit with arrow, which is a file field to open the files. So the rest of them, we are going to be simple. We still create a loop, use the std async to open this file called the singleton read file, and this function only take one parameter, is the thread ID, and we use get to run this thread, getting return from this thread status. So in this singleton read file, because we already open a singleton object, so we don't need to pass file name to our function. And in this singleton function, so we only pass thread ID. So in this time, we first declare the string object called line, and we instantialize the pointer of singleton file get instance. So it says each threading, we call this function to get the pointer of singleton object and singleton file object. Then we know we need to loop 2500 for each thread, and for each thread, make each loop, and we just read line from this object and to the line, and we just print it to the line, pass thread ID and loop number, and because this object and TSF, this object, singleton object, and std cout is both command shared object for the old 8 threading, so we mute log and unlog. And then this, in this case, because our open file read line get into this object, so we can simplify to our program just like a normal read line from the file. So now let's just save this. We compile this. And we run this. So this is our executable. This is our example file, and we put just called pluto.txt. So let's see what's the output. So in this case, we have 8 threads. Each thread read line by line. So in this case, you can see for the line 1, it's read by thread 0 and loop 0, and this by line thread 0, loop 1, loop thread 0, and come to the 23rd line, which is read by thread 6 and loop 0. And line 24 is read by thread 1, loop 0. So in this we just open one instance of Singleton file. We can just each thread read line by line, so we can share of same line, same input file read by multi-thread, and don't need to open 8 times. Hello, this is Hui. Thanks to watch my video. Hopeful this is useful, enjoyable. It's going to be great to have your feedback.